The prophet Isaiah, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more." Welcome to the Citizen Arts Podcast series, Israeli Voices, Who We Are. Episode 7, A Jerusalem College Educating Israel's Educators. AI as a tool for intelligent learning, not dumbing down. Valuing collective and community awareness. Worries about and appreciation for sending children to military service. Palestinian student insights into the importance of learning English, imaginative teaching, social media distraction, mutual respect, ending hate. Holocaust reflections at Yad Vashem, and soldiers studying Israel's founders, holding fast to fallen comrades.
This is a teacher's college, the David Yellin Academic College of Education in Jerusalem. It's a public college. Just all higher education in Israel is public. Basically, students come here and they get a BEd, a Bachelor's of Education, and then they can specialize in different fields like English, which is the specialization I work in.
How long have you been here?
Since 2008. I moved to Israel in 2002. I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio.
You've got a real mix of students. Is this secular and religious?
Schools in Israel fall under either a state-run secular school or state religious-run schools. We are officially under the state-run secular track.
Does that mean you would tend not to have, let's say, Jewish Orthodox?
So we do have Jewish Orthodox students, but ultra-Orthodox Haredi students generally go to teacher training colleges that are specifically for ultra-Orthodox students.
You got Israeli Jews here, Palestinian Israelis here.
So here we have Palestinian Israelis who are Israeli citizens, and we also have Palestinian residents of East Jerusalem who are not Israeli citizens.
Is this free education?
It's not free, it's subsidized by the government. All higher education in Israel is subsidized.
Your classroom that we just attended, those are undergraduate students. Will they have to get a graduate degree in teaching?
You can go into the classroom with a BEd and a teaching certification. So they are getting a BEd and a teaching certification. A few of those students have a degree in something else, and they're coming to get retrained to be teachers.
Did you teach before you moved here from the States?
I did work some as an ESL, as an English as a second language teacher. I got to language teaching through an interest in looking at the role of English as connecting different populations in Israeli society, Arabic speakers and Hebrew speakers. English isn't a neutral language, but it can certainly function as a bridging language.
Can you point to distinctions between how education is approached here on the undergraduate college level from how it might be approached in the U.S.?
I haven't taught in higher education frameworks in the U.S., so I don't know if I can actually say that. What I will say is teaching in our context is hard. I think probably teaching in the U.S. is also hard. Here, the classes are large. They're often pretty diverse in terms of levels of English, backgrounds of the students.
Do cultural differences play a role in the classroom? Kids coming from, let's say, a Jewish home versus a Palestinian Arab home?
I would say there are differences in terms of how you turn to the teacher, differences in levels of formality. My experiences in schools where they're speaking Arabic, the teacher has a higher status, is treated with more respect than in the Jewish schools. That's not across the board. There's also differences within the Hebrew-speaking schools. One interesting idea about this is whether certainly secular Jewish schools were influenced by the kibbutz movement and really a social democratic movement. and whether Arabic-speaking schools were influenced more by the British system, which is certainly more formal and traditional. If you are trying to establish a social democratic society, it's a pretty flat society, right? You don't have hierarchy.
The students taking your English class, are they mostly Jews or Palestinian?
Many of my students are Arabic speakers, and in that classroom there were just, I think, 3 Jewish students.
And they all come in with enough language skill for you to be able to teach them?
Ideally, they have taken a lot of proficiency courses. They do work very hard on their language skills.
Your students came across as extremely diligent, very thoughtful. We're looking forward to our conversation with some of them later.
The 4 you'll meet with are very excited. They're Palestinian.
Is there much online teaching here?
I would say about half of my teaching is online.
Really? Is this recent? Was there a COVID factor?
Definitely with COVID it began, although there were sort of little experiments before that. COVID pushed us to learn how to manage teaching online, what it means to do independent self-study versus face-to-face study. The teacher's lounge is right here.
Do you find that the conflict out in the world that these kids are surrounded by comes into the classroom?
It does sometimes, particularly after the war in Gaza broke out. Definitely there was a need to sometimes navigate complicated issues, trying to keep it professional, but also helping them to feel like they're, equipped to be able to go into a classroom and deal with it.
I can't even imagine, and particularly having been some of the places we've been the last few days, how traumatic that whole thing must have been for all of them. Where did you study to be a teacher?
I actually have a first degree in religious studies from Grinnell College in Iowa. I studied religious studies because there was a part of me that wanted to be a rabbi. I thought that there was a place for religion in bridging and bringing people together, and I had spent time in Latin America and had found that language and religion were ways that I connected to people who are very, very different than me in also rural settings.
And you hold dual citizenship?
I do hold dual citizenship. There's a piece of me that is still very American and is proud of what America is, and understanding that it's not a perfect democracy, but it's absolutely a democracy. I am certainly thinking about that a lot and struggling with it and what it means to have freedom of speech and freedoms that are not inevitable by any means.
That's certainly on the mind of many people these days. And so you were here and you decided to stay.
I think there had just been a bus bombing, and I called my mom and I said, I'm okay. She said, maybe you want to come home. And I said, no, I'm not going to come home. My mom is deeply connected to Israel. She lived here as a young person. She lived here for a year with my father. And my grandfather was actually born here during the Ottoman rule, pre even the British mandate. So our connection to here runs deep.
So you're married, you have a family.
We have 4 children.
Bless you. A teacher and you have 4 children. What I think would be interesting to know is how you feel bringing up your children in Israel would differ from, let's say, if they'd been brought up in the States.
Something you had asked me before in terms of the differences with my students. All of my students here tend to be collective-minded, and that's something that I appreciate also in terms of how my children are being raised. There is also individualism, but there's a sense of collectivity and community that's very hard to explain, but is palpable. I really see it with my kids and how they behave and how they interact with each other and with others. That's certainly one of the things that motivates us to live here.
School system's pretty good here, isn't it?
I think that it's a very complex school system. Is that a diplomatic answer? Maybe a little bit. You have what is perceived as homogeneity, right? But you have secular state schools, you have religious schools, you have schools for Arabic speakers that are divided into Druze and Bedouin and Muslim populations. And often the teaching and subjects vary, and there can be little interaction between the different school populations. We don't have a lot of opportunities and initiatives for teaching diversity and teaching multiculturalism. I don't know that the solution is a curriculum for multicultural education, but certainly there should be more awareness that there are differences, and those differences impact performance on exams and on what you come to the classroom already knowing how to do and what needs to be taught to you explicitly. And looking at the big picture, how to interact with people who are different to make for a truly healthy multicultural society.
How old is your oldest child?
This year, he will get it's called a tzav rishon, which is the first step that he gets from the military. Once he turns 16, he's required by law to go into the army. So this summer he turned 16 and kind of crossed that threshold. And we are waiting for the first call-up letter. And then there are a number of steps that he will go through.
What is the age when he will be on duty?
18.
And you'll have the 3-year commitment?
It depends a little bit on what track he ends up doing, but yes.
And then he would come out, typically, you could get a job or go to university?
Or travel for a while. One thing you can see also in my college, the student population here, is that many of the Arabic speakers are a little bit younger because they're not required to serve in the army, and they don't generally serve in the army. So they're 18, 19, 20, and my Hebrew-speaking students who have served in the army are 24, 25, 26. To be honest, I am afraid and worried. As a mother, your instinct is to make sure that your child isn't in any harm's way, and you want to protect them. That's one side of me. The other side, of course, is yes, to serve your country, to serve your society. There's tremendous value in it. To serve something other than yourself, that I think is critical for feelings of belonging, community, responsibility.
We were talking to a group of very young soldiers who were on patrol in the West Bank. They talked about how much their service was an opportunity to show dedication to their country. Is there any other type of service that can replace military?
So you can do national service, particularly religious girls do national service. And you can sometimes get permission to do national service instead of military service. This issue is tearing our society apart right now, given that the ultra-Orthodox religious population, the majority do not serve. So how can it be? It can't be that a portion of your society are sending their children off to war and their men or boys primarily off sometimes to die, and then you have another portion that are just studying all day. And of course, it's presented as in a very binary argument that needs to be presented not as you go to the army or you don't go to the army, but that you contribute to your society and you serve your society, and you don't have an option not to do that. If you don't do that, then you shouldn't be able to get subsidized higher education, and you shouldn't be able to get subsidized healthcare, and you shouldn't be able to get all these many things in our society that are paid for through public funds. Those public funds don't come from the air, they come from taxes, and if you don't contribute to your society, then you shouldn't be able to take from it. There are many ways to serve. Not all of them are combat soldiers. So I think breaking apart that binary, the only option is either you study or you go to the army. Well, there are many aspects of our society that could use extra human power. Let's figure out how to organize ourselves in another way.
Is there a rocket shelter near you? Bunker near your home that you go to?
In our house, we have a safe room. And then there's also a public shelter.
An environment where you must have a safe room and there's a public shelter. How does that affect you in thinking about being a mom and raising your children? Do you wonder at times whether that was too much to ask of a child?
I have done a lot of thinking about this. Feeling secure is usually the norm in the Western world, and they need to hold on to that and cherish it and feel gratitude for it, because much of the world is experiencing unrest a lot of the time. Sometimes it feels a little too much, and we of course wish for more peace and security, the potential for danger. It's terrifying, but the probability of getting hit by a missile is very low. The probability of getting blown up on a bus is very low. It's terrifying. That's why it's called terror, because it's terrifying and it terrorizes you. And you cannot control it in any way. You have no idea.
Are you always looking around, or are you mostly inured to it at this point?
We live very well here, thank God. In fact, that's also something that I have tried to hold on to over the past few years, especially, but I walk down the street and it's pretty safe. And my Muslim colleague walks down the street and it's pretty safe. And my Jewish colleague walks and it's pretty safe. It's safer than a lot of places in the world.
When you're back in the States, what do you hear? What are they asking you about Israel?
This place is misunderstood, misrepresented, disproportionately under a microscope. I've really tried to leave it outside because it's very, very upsetting. Things here aren't perfect, but by hyperbolizing and saying that they're a genocide, that's not helpful in any way, shape, or form. Do we have things we need to work on and improve on? Absolutely.
What would be at the top of your list of things that need to be worked on in Israel?
We don't have enough opportunities to interact in a meaningful way with people who think and are different than us. And that allows for stereotypes to really run rampant. Then some very real, horrible experiences are then generalized. So all Jews are this, or all Muslims are this, or all ultra-Orthodox are this. And when you have a chance to meet people as they are and understand that there are places where we differ and there are places where we are similar, that's where we build our society. And then I would say opportunities to interact and meet around real issues and real goals and real aspects of society that can advance our society and keep it in safety and keep it stable and keep it growing. We also have to speak out against extremism in all of its expressions. We can't afford to be extreme on the left. We can't afford to be extreme on the right. We need to protect the middle in a way that I think we're not doing. In part because social media rewards extremism. You don't get attention if you're not making a lot of noise. But the middle is pretty big. We have to figure out how to amplify that middle and keep the society moving in a positive way. And a piece of that is making sure that our minority populations that want to be here and want to become teachers and want to contribute to society are respected and taken care of. It takes a lot of time to know people deeply. It takes a lot of time to build the trust to be able to talk about the hard things that are dividing us. With my students, I do get to know some of them very much. I try to see each of them for who they are and not their external identities. It doesn't mean that we don't ever look at identities. We do. But over maybe the last 20 years or so, less even, it's become a qualification. I think that in and of itself is very problematic. I'm advocating for something that's just. So if I'm advancing justice, I am giving you the credit that you got there because you're competent and capable and skill equipped, not because of the color of your skin or your gender or your religion or whatever.
Can you do that? Whoa, I got to hear that again. That was so good. Let's say with a snap of that finger, you can change one thing instantly. What would it be?
This will sound archaic because it relates to social media platforms and phones and technology. I think having this put away, regulated more.
You're holding onto a phone.
Yeah. Yes. And now with AI, it's unclear what that will do to us as humans. And I think that's something that has complicated the world in a way that I would potentially slow down and even put away. I can already see that the technology has impacted skills in terms of reading and writing. The worry is really with kids who have barely learn to read and write and are then going to be pointed to AI tools that can do the cognitive thinking for them, as well as the actual writing. I'm concerned that we will see a cognitive declined generation, inability to do all kinds of thinking skills that are necessary to be the best. And we here, I mean, Israeli society cannot afford to be mediocre. If we are mediocre, we will eventually be destroyed by those around us that would like to destroy us. We can only be the absolute sharpest and toughest and best in a lot of different fields. Sorry, but don't you have a class with our Palestinian students?
Oh, yes. Sorry, teacher. We gotta run. See you later. Hi, hello. We're so sorry. Late for class. I hope we don't get sent to the principal. Well, thank you for taking the time to be with us, talk with us. We have spent a little bit of that time unintentionally, and we know you have classes coming up. We're going to get right to the first question, the basic question. Why have you chosen teaching? Why are you here studying English?
I believe that teaching is really, really important, especially in English, because here in this country or in Jerusalem specifically, we have a void with English and we need more people to fill the void. So we need more teachers. We need more people interested in this language because it's a very important language.
I'm here to become an English teacher. I love teaching, and I think English is very important because it's one of the most spoken language in the world. And also the new technology always depends on English. For example, coding for different things. And you can't just put any person in front of a classroom and expect them to teach properly. The teacher's job is very important to raise a new productive generation.
I'm here also because English is a global language. It's very important, and I want to be a teacher to help kids to learn different ways, such as to be creative, thinking outside the box, and also like to be confident while speaking this language. It's very important that they are able to express themselves while using, let's say, a second language. It's not their mother language.
Yes. I want to become an English teacher. I feel teaching is very important, like being a musician,
What is your instrument?
a violin.
Oh, okay.
I want to be focused on learning English through music, like something new in the future. Yes, that's why I'm learning English.
Which language do you think is more difficult to learn, Arabic or English?
Arabic.
Arabic is more difficult.
A lot. Especially the grammar part is very, very hard, complicated.
I agree.
Arabic is very complicated, especially grammar. I'm gonna have to disagree with them. Arabic is hard to learn, but in English, it's very different. The rules are different, the sounds of the language are different, the phonetics are different. When an Arabic speaker learns Hebrew, it's easier for them to learn than learning English, because Hebrew is similar to Arabic in some way, but English is so different. I think people who struggle the most with English here are the Arabic speakers. They struggle more than Hebrew speakers because Hebrew speakers usually speak English. The Arabic speakers in most of the situations do speak Arabic and Hebrew, but don't speak English. English is a foreign language to us. It's not emphasized as much in schools as Hebrew and Arabic. So I think that's why also we need more English teachers, because we need to make it more important, the English. In my school, English was very important, so everything was in English. Chemistry, biology, history, all of it. But in other schools, it's only one class English and the teacher speaks Arabic instead of English. So it's the opposite. That's why students don't get this knowledge in a simple way, or they don't gain a lot of vocabulary because of their teacher.
But all of you arrived at college speaking a fair amount of English, I take.
Yeah.
Since now English is a global language, now we can see on YouTube channels, influencers, everyone speaks English. especially like now Gen Z. Of course, everything is in English. They watch movies, tutorials, everything is in English.
At a young age, I was fascinated in movies when I was used to see television. And after that, when I grew up, books, novels, they got my attention. So I started reading. That strengthened my language more. And I have a family that lives in the United States. I have cousins in Virginia, Washington, D.C., and also in Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So most of them, they don't speak Arabic well, very broken, very hard to understand. So in order to communicate better with them, I tried my hardest also to strengthen my English.
I've met students around the world who have said to me, speaking really good English, much better than I speak it, that they learned it from social media and TV.
TikTok helps. TikTok really helps. I was in YMCA in the summer camps. Yes, it's helped me a lot.
What are some of the challenges you think you'll be facing when you enter the classroom as teachers?
I would say connecting to the students, because of the difference of generation. We were raised in a different way from the current one. When I go to schools, I hate to say it, but it's true from my point of view, that a lot of kids nowadays are more spoiled than we were.
Every generation says that about the prior
Yes, but I know that from my parents, they had it harsher. But when you see a new generation that comes with different ideals, really, you will see a new point of view.
I agree. With the technology revolution and all the things are adding to the world, but I think it's harder to teach the kids and really get the information to stick in their brains, because as they call them brain rot on social media, it's really affecting the kids. I think parents should focus on their kids and what they do on social media. I think they should take these resources, the social media and technology, and make it helpful for the children to learn more, not to make them dumber.
And AI is coming.
Oh my God, AI plays a crucial role now.
Yeah, it has its pros and cons.
Exactly.
It's a helpful tool to use when teaching and in learning, but it's very bad to get dependent on it and not to use it for cheating, doing your homework. You can use it to get ideas, to get information, to help you when something you don't understand, to give you examples, but not to replace your thinking.
AI, it's important. Yes, because sometimes I want to do research on something. I open Google, but it can be too general. In AI, I just write what I want and it gives me the exact thing that I want. And it's really helpful.
I think as teachers, the cons are more than the pros, because children are now relying on AI instead of relying on themselves to help themselves learn more. I think it helps them cheat. I don't think children should use it. And I think before AI was more beneficial for the children to sit in a classroom and take in the information instead of just relying on a phone or a laptop to give them whatever they need. So of course there's positive things and negative things. As for the positive things, it gives them new things to study through, like new ideas. It helps students to think differently, and it helps them to get answers quickly. But the negative things, that students start depending on AI instead of like do their homework alone and think alone. No, they depend on the AI, so it like makes them, I don't know, lose their mind or something like that.
Okay, well, you have to get to other classes. And they want us to leave this room so a new class can come in. So just one more question. Can you do this? Okay, that's A+ level snap. Let's say with the snap of a finger, you could change one thing in the world or in Israel or your family or whatever. One thing, magically, it's done. What would it be?
Yeah, I find it really that children nowadays lack the respect for the older generation that they should have. We were raised to respect old people, to respect our parents, to respect the worker on the street, to respect the teachers.
Maybe the education. I feel the most important things, not just teaching through the books. The elementary school kids should be taught through games and songs and art and movies. I feel it's like more helpful for kids. They learn better. I feel the same way. Maybe giving new methods, teaching methods, help them concentrate. It fits better in our new technology world. I would love to erase war.
I also put an extra something with a snap of the finger to change the whole world, get rid of hate.
Wow. Thank you, everybody. You are wonderful. All the best to you and your teaching careers.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you, American guy.
Jim, because we go to the Holocaust Museum,
This is something that I wrote in my notes to
talk to you about.
We are not saints. We are trying to do the right thing. Israel is a moral country and IDF is a moral army.
Does that mean that
100% what's happening in the IDF is kosher? No. Is Israel doing horrible things? Yes. Is Israel doing genocide? The answer is no. We don't
purposely?
kill innocent people.
But many innocent people are being killed.
Yes, this is terrible. Terrible. The question is, are we trying to kill innocent people? We are not. We do not do ethnic liquidation.
So it's what in the U.S. is called collateral damage. You got to go in, you do the mission, and if some people get killed, that's how it goes.
If enemy fighters, they hide in hospitals and homes behind innocent put at risk, innocent sacrifice. If media shows bloody baby outside hospital or old man lying on the ground, there is fury at Israel. There are demands Israel stop fighting, but Israel can only stop if our enemies stop trying to kill us.
Yad Vashem, memorial in Jerusalem for the millions of Jews murdered in the Second World War, who didn't get a proper or any burial at all, simply obliterated. Israelis and Jews worldwide have been rediscovering them and placing them in the book of names in Yad Vashem. Millions, still counting. Acknowledgement they were among us, not forgotten, nobody left behind, like in the military, like with the hostages here. No compromise on getting them returned. Alive or not, they cannot be lost. They must be remembered, honored in dignity. May their memory be a blessing.
We are on top the national hill, Mount Herzl. Here are Israel leaders, prime ministers, presidents, members parliament. Here is Golda Meir, also Teddy Kollek, famous Jerusalem mayor.
Bob Marley, he's buried here?
No, this is memorial. He was Zionist, a father, part Jewish. Some of his family live in Israel. Here starts the National Cemetery for Soldiers.
We're approaching an army unit that's here for cultural study. It's like most of the units we see, white, brown, black, probably a quarter women. They've got their long guns, AR-15s or M4s or whatever they're called, and they're studying what makes their country tick.
I'll tell you what, one thing that is important for us to remember as soldiers or anyone who wears the uniform is the togetherness, being together as one, as an army, as a military, as a department, or whatever you may call it. The main purpose is to let people visit people that they know personally. There are people here that have lost friends or family in the war or before the war. Is this your first time here?
Not in Israel, but first time here.
You're from where in the States?
New York.
Oh, California, San Diego.
You're a lieutenant?
I am a captain.
Pardon me. I was a captain when I was in the Army.
Where were you in the Army?
Well, I was in Vietnam.
Oh, wow. In regards to your question, I feel like there's like a very big amount of power when you're at places like this, especially Mount Herzl, because on one hand, you have the silence of the place, but at the same time, you also have like the background noise of the city. Everyone's still doing their own thing outside of the premises. And another thing is, at least from my perspective, coming to places like this and not knowing each person that's, buried here personally. Sometimes I'll see people that I recognize their name. I'm not talking about, the leaders. I'm talking about like the actual soldiers buried. Then you're like, wow, like I saw his name on the news like a few months ago or a year ago or whenever. It's not just a name, it's a person that had a whole story of his life. And, as soon as you hear he has passed away or has fallen in war, you'll feel like a hardship in your heart. Once you see all these graves and you see the name, you'll remember and recollect that memory. The soldiers here, they fought for our country on the battleground. The leaders, maybe they didn't fight physically and fall in war, but they did fight. And the fact that we can be here standing on two feet is because of them.
He died in Gaza.
This is correct. 4 days ago.
I'm so moved by this. In the States, to my knowledge, there's been little reporting on the sacrifice of Israelis in the Gaza war, except, of course, for the massacre of mostly civilians on October 7th and the loss of many of the hostages. But what of the soldiers? We've seen their graves in local cemeteries around the country. Here, in Israel's National Cemetery, in a large, tree-sheltered sanctuary. On many gravestones, photos of the fallen, looking like the soldiers we just met above on Mount Herzl. Comrades who feel a hardship in their hearts for these fallen, keeping their memory in life. Today, study, a learning day for them and for us. Yeah, for us too. Thank you for listening to episode 7 of Israeli Voices, Who We Are. Many, many thanks to Julia Shlom Salman and our groups of Palestinian college students and Israeli soldiers. You'll find more about Julia in our show notes. In episode 8, we conclude our program by bringing together in Jerusalem many of the people whose voices are heard throughout this Citizen Arts presentation. They share and debate views about matters at the heart of Israel's past, present, and future. Also, final reflections about our journey exploring who Israelis are. Citizen Arts is a not-for-profit 501c3 educational organization that seeks to present constructive, compelling information, ideas, and opinions about important civic, social, and cultural matters. We very much welcome your feedback. Dear listeners, please stay healthy in mind and body, both in goodwill and wise in action. I'm Jim Gabe, Citizen Arts founder. Jill Gabe is executive producer. Jeff Lewis is producer and artistic director. Hillik Wald is our Israel field producer.